This is a story of a woman who had an experience with her children, and the recording was made while she was first revealing this to a group of people. So you can hear the noise in the background and everything, but you'll hear the quiver in her voice, and it's really hard for her to explain. But I think if you listen to it, you'll understand what she went through.
And when it was over, she went to someone she knew who was more familiar with the abductions and aliens, so she could get some answers. And on the day this was recorded, she was talking with a person who had written a couple of books on the topic of shadow people.
Really never talked about what has happened to me or my family. And Sandy asked me to come up here because even though it was really, really scary, my belief in God protected us. I truly believe that. My first experience, I guess, happened about 13 years ago. And I'm a single mother with 2 children. At the time, my daughter was 4 and my son was 2. And I went to bed one night, it's about 11 o'clock, and the kids were asleep. And all of a sudden, I had this unbelievable negative feeling that there was a negative presence that actually, it overwhelmed me. It scared me so much that I tried to move and I couldn't move. I immediately just started praying to God, please let me move, let me get my body out of this bed. And I did. I forced myself to get up and go across the hall, and I saw my daughter. God, I don't really talk about this a whole lot because it was just very traumatic for me. But there was a light shining down upon her, and all around her were these things, aliens, whatever. Actually, I had never seen one or had the research that everyone else has done. These were things in my daughter's room, and they were evil. And when I touched one of them, they left. Next thing I remember is in my bed, and I jumped out of bed and I ran to check my children, and they were fine. The next day, I called Sandy because this is on a different level. It's not something that I could come up to and say, you're not coming in my house anymore. The only way that you can fight these people is through your relationship with God, with Jesus, which whomever you believe in, praying and being solid in your belief. We also blessed my house. Went around, blessed my house, and for very, very many years, I didn't have any more. They stayed out of my home, they stayed out of our lives. Unfortunately, a couple of months ago, my daughter is now 18. She came to me one morning and said, Mom, I don't want to sleep in my bedroom anymore. And I said, well, what happened? And she said, there's something in there. There was a presence in my room. And that's all she told me to begin with. And I was like, okay. And she's like, Mom, it's evil. And I said, fine, let's get a crucifix, we'll put it in your room, and I have a huge one that has a light on it. And I put a candle in there, and it burned all night long, which was kind of amazing to me because it was a 6-hour candle, and 12 hours later it was still lit. I believe God was watching over her that night. So the next night, she would go to bed, light her candle, everything was fine. Did I believe that she had actually seen something? It didn't matter. She believed it, whether I saw it or not. She is very spiritual. She prayed, she felt good. So a couple of weeks later, she was gone and I was home alone in my home, and it was about 7 o'clock at night, and I'm on my computer working. And all of a sudden I see this thing walking through my house. And I haven't read your book, Heidi, but what you're saying sounds very much as to what was in our home. I did sit down with my daughter and asked her to really tell me what all happened after I saw this thing in my home. By the way, as soon as I saw it, I began to pray. And they didn't leave. I thought they would, but they didn't. So when I talked to my daughter, she told me that it started with a dream that she had. It was a Friday night. She said she dreamt that she came home to our home. She has her own car, pulled in, came into the house, and she saw something go down the hallway. She was afraid, so she said, in my dream, I went back out in the car. And she said, I didn't want to go in the house anymore. She said she woke up the next morning and thought, boy, that was just a really strange dream. The next night, she had the same dream. This time when she woke up, she saw a shadow figure in her corner of her bedroom. She closed her eyes. She said, Mom, when I opened them up, it had moved closer and it was closer to my bed. This time, I closed my eyes, started praying to God, and reached over and grabbed my cell phone and opened up the cell phone so there was light, and when she opened her eyes again, it was gone. But she said she felt a bubble of light of God protecting her. So, again, after she told me what really had happened and I had seen it, we blessed our home again. We haven't seen anything for about a month now, which is good. I feel them on the outside of my house, but I feel my house is protected right now. So if any of you have any experiences like this, and you're like me, and you're just trying to live your normal life, and this weird stuff comes in every once in a while, I believe that through prayer, God helps and God protects. Thank you.
We've been taught to send protection around each member individually in a home. You know, your family members, now parents, when a child becomes of age, it's what, 12 years old, but when they get 16, they get their driver's license. When they're 18, they're going into from 16 to 18, they're going into the workforce, and they're exposed to, we don't know what. We're not, you know, being monitored 24/7 by our parents, but the dark forces are certainly trying to find ways how to get to you.
Yeah, and I think you have to be very vigilant because they're always looking for some way
Yep.
to get back into your life and upset you.
Like you can't leave they're always trying to get the toehold in your door. If you open it slightly, open a door, they're trying to get in. And I just wanted to note that there was one instance where she prayed and she said they did not leave.
So she asked her daughter
What
really happened.
Yes, and
That's being vigilant.
and trying to follow through to see what opened that door.
Again.
Yes. To have this work, you can't just try it. You have to believe it with 100% belief and faith that you are heard and you will be protected. You know, that your prayers are answered. You can't just try something. Let's just try this time.
Doubt the size of a mustard seed
Yes.
leaves the door open for them to come.
It's like a balloon with the doubt is like a pinprick. It's little, but that balloon bursts.
Is there a way that we can talk about some of the tools? She used the tool of prayer, but
She also believed that it would work.
Right.
But when it didn't work,
That's when she knew something else was up. And had to go do the research.
And the daughter, it came in with the daughter.
But whatever it was, however it happened, the prayer, the belief, the understanding, and being vigilant worked.
Mhm.
And she mentioned that she came into her daughter's room and there was light around her daughter. Now, did she put that there through prayer? Or was that instant, like God's bubble of protection? I don't know, but that's another tool, is using the light of God that is in, like
And
a spark of God in the
We can use it on ourselves and other people. The prayer works that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you look on our website in the pamphlet, Refusing Alien Abduction, there is a section on tools for refusing abduction.